Hi, so this video is looking at how to process shock when you've been through a really big trauma. So when we experience a really traumatic event, the first thing that happens is that the old limbic system part of our brain, the amygdala, actually kicks off. And there's a surge of adrenaline and noradrenaline that starts to cruise around our body. And that kind of gives rise to activating the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight mechanism. And this is the feeling of like I must fight or flee, or, and it's this rise of anxiety and anger within the body. This initial mechanism of adrenaline and noradrenaline, what happens is when we become imbalanced and there's too much adrenaline coursing through our body and we do not have the right ability or mechanism to actually get rid of that adrenaline through shaking it out or through getting some exercise, our stress hormone cortisol will start to increase. And as the stress hormone cortisol increases, it suppresses the nice workings of the hippocampus. So we're unable to think straight because the hippocampus is the very calm part of the brain that helps us access and make new memories, learn new things, and rationalize and be able to make decisions under crisis. So when we're traumatized, we're not really in the best position to be taking action. We're not really in the best position to be making decisions, and we're not really sure about what to do that is best. So in the moment when you're dealing with that huge shock, you could panic. Most people do end up panicking a bit. And, I recently had literally a client this morning that was in that position, absolutely freaking out about going through divorce. Have I just ruined my whole life? Have I, completely messed up? Have I stuffed up my children? Like how I need to back out of this? And that process of second guessing what we've just done is very, very normal. What you need to be doing in that very, very crisis stage, the first stage, is to realize that you're not you when you're going through this. These old brain processes have kicked in and your neurotransmitters or hormones have taken over. We're getting that antsy feeling and you're going to be really more emotional than normal. This is not the time to be making huge decisions. And if you're in that big shock response, taking big actions, thinking, I just need to do this to get to safety, or I just need to do this to establish certainty, or I just need to find the answer to this question, or I've just got to do this, and this, or I've just got to have another conversation, of all those I've got to, and I should, and I have to statements are probably coming from panic, and they're probably coming from that urge to establish control and certainty inside of the shock that you're experiencing. Whether it be a divorce or any other kind of trauma that you're going through, that shock response requires a little bit of dust settling before we're really in a position for our hippocampus to determine the best strategy. That surge of adrenaline, whether we become more angry or become more anxious, we can't kind of live with that response for very long. So our body's normal state to move back to homeostasis will kick in, getting to safety through disconnection. And that's when the parasympathetic nervous system just goes, nah, I'm tapping out. We're moving to disconnection and we're now going to just completely go offline. Neither of these brain responses lead to intelligent action. So what you really need to be doing when you're going through this big shock is to give yourself spaciousness to be able to process what's happening. Slow things down. There's this real feeling that we need to speed things up because of the panic, because we're trying to get to certainty. But actually speeding things up and taking very fast action, you're probably not going to make the decision that is best for you in that moment. So by slowing things down, taking spaciousness, taking time, and maybe making some notes, journaling a little bit, like, okay, what is the lay of the land here? This is what's happening. These are the pros and cons of this position. These are the pros and cons of that position. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep on anything drastic here. I'm not going to take massive action. I'm going to let this play out for a day or two. And then I'm going to see where the land lies when I am done with this processing. What happens is it just gives our body the opportunity to get back to a place of homeostasis and self-regulation. In that place, we're then able to rationalize and think a little bit more calmly about what our next move needs to be. So the Moral of the story is that when you're all dysregulated and in shock from a trauma that has just happened, give your emotions a step change to just calm down. Give yourself some love, give yourself some space, give yourself some self-care, some compassion, and don't speed up with the trauma and take actions that you may then later regret. There is really very little that requires fast action unless your life or your situation is truly in danger or truly at stake. Most of the time when we're working with clients, we're dealing with the fallout of actions that were taken too quickly in that crisis position. So the deal is, when you're in a crisis position, slow down, calm down, take a moment, take a breath, get your breath together, get your head together, take a day or two to let this thing settle slightly before you take your next step. In terms of strategizing and making good calculated moves when you're dysregulated and getting to a place where you regulate your emotions a bit better, do book a clarity call on our website and we can help you with what those steps involve. Take care. Bye.